Welcome, my friends, to the world of HeroQuest, a place unlike any other. Have you ever stared longingly at those terror-in-the-dark listings on eBay, your heart aching as you see the $400, $500, or even $600 price tag for a completed box?
What?
Do you dream of delving into those Advanced HeroQuest dungeons, but your wallet weeps at the thought? Well, fellow adventurers, weep no more. Today I'm creating something truly epic. I'm not just playing Advanced HeroQuest, I'm resurrecting a legend. Forget those exorbitant prices, because in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to craft your very own high-quality game-ready copy of the elusive Terror-in-the-Dark expansion. That's right, we're talking about cutting out, Mod Podging, and bringing to life every single one of those unique room tiles and item tiles that make this expansion so legendary. So grab your hobby knife, cue the epic music, and watch me bring Terror-in-the-Dark back to the tabletops. This is the Fair Weatherman. Step into the shadows, weary travelers, and leave the mundane world behind. Within these hallowed walls, you'll find treasures forged in the fires of antiquity. Level up your fandom with official channel merch. From comfy tees that show your goblin pride to mugs that keep your coffee warm during epic battles. There's even something for your little heroes. Every purchase directly supports the channel and helps me bring you even more awesome content. Check it out today. It'll mean the old world to me. Use code GOBLINMODE at checkout for 10% off your first order. Link in the description below. Welcome back to the channel. Now you might be thinking, this sounds like a huge undertaking. But here's the best part. The supplies you'll need are surprisingly simple and readily available. We're not talking about specialized tools or expensive materials. We're talking about things you can pick up at pretty much any craft store, or even order online with ease. All you really need is a good quality printer, some sturdy cardstock or foam board, a sharp hobby knife or craft blade, and of course our secret weapon, Mod Podge. This magical, all-in-one glue, sealer, and finish is what will transform simple paper into durable game-ready pieces. You won't need to use Elmer's glue anymore. The process is far less daunting than it sounds, and with a little patience and a steady hand, you'll be amazed at how easily you can bring this legendary expansion to life. The hardest part will be finding the scans from the 1991 release, and even that won't take you that long. So get ready to impress your gaming group with a Terror-in-the-Dark set without breaking the bank. So let's get into this. For my build, I printed the scans from Advanced HeroQuest Reforged. I really like how these room tiles have the original stone border, something that was left off in this expansion. The problem I had with printing was getting the unique sizing down for the room tiles. Advanced HeroQuest room squares are slightly smaller than the figure's 25mm bases. I spent a lot of time in Photoshop resizing everything for an easy click and print application, which was anything but that. I can't tell you how many times I had to print these tiles to get them to match the original, creating seamless integration. I had a difficult time tracking down the weapon artifact cards, but eventually found a decent scan on an Advanced HeroQuest message board. I won't be sharing any links to these files, so be sure you do a thorough internet search, but they're out there. All cards on the table. I've created a few tiles before using this process, but sealing them with Mod Podge will be a new step for me, but I feel it'll be worth it in the long run. If I'm going to spend the time and effort making these, I want them to last a lifetime. To my wife's chagrin, I've amassed a large number of vintage board games and modern HeroQuest expansions that I'll be painting, playing, and crafting long into our retirement. I take that back. My wife is okay with the hobby. She just doesn't really get it. But she sees it to be rather harmless, and I find it to be a lot of fun. To begin, your first step is to cut out all of your printed tile pieces. For those precise cuts that'll make your tiles look factory fresh, I found it easier to use a pair of scissors. For efficiency, I recommend leaving the smaller tiles grouped together. This allows you to apply Mod Podge to several at once in a single session. Next, it's time to paste our cutouts onto cardboard. I picked up a large trifold board at Walmart. This will be the base of our tiles, giving them that satisfying weight and feel. The key here is to assure a complete and even application, applying a generous amount of Mod Podge. This helps create a strong seal and, crucially, prevents any bubbling. You definitely want to avoid your room tiles peeling up later on, so take your time with this step to get a good adhesion. Now for the Mod Podge application itself, which requires 2 coats for optimal durability and finish. I quickly discovered that applying an even first coat can be tricky. It's important to avoid overworking the tiles with too many strokes. If you go over the same area repeatedly, the glue can oversaturate the paper, ensuring the printer ink to bleed and ultimately leading to the paper tearing. I learned this the hard way on my very first tile and had to start over. So be mindful and aim for smooth, confident strokes. If you're impatient, I would let the first coat dry for at least an hour. You're going to be tempted to touch it, but be sure you resist the urge. The semi-dried glue will stick to your fingers and tear the paper. I found it was much easier to glue down all of the individual smaller tiles at once than it was to cut them out before and try to Mod Podge them. Once dry to the touch, you can press down any of the edges that came up. They will seal with the next coat. If you cross-hatch your layers, you'll get a nice linen finish that's reminiscent of professional card finishing. While the second coat is drying, I want to talk a little bit about my Bloodthirster Mini, something I picked up from Mountain View 3D on Etsy. I really like this sculpt of the traditional HeroQuest Gargoyle that I painted up in a Bloodthirster style. I really think this one has a really nostalgic appeal to it and works great in Advanced HeroQuest. It's going to look incredible on these new dungeon tiles, and I can't wait to set up and play my first game. I'm also in the process of painting up my henchmen from Advanced HeroQuest. As you can see, the minis are in a couple different stages. I initially set out to shield all of them with the same shield, but decided against it after seeing pictures on Reddit of people shielding up the henchmen to match up the heroes that we find in the base game. I've currently finished the red henchman that I'm going to use for my dwarf and the green henchman I'm going to use for my elf. 6 more minis to go before I can wrap up this part of my goal of painting up all of Advanced HeroQuest by the end of the summer. The second coat dried quickly and provided a seal surface to the touch within 25 minutes. I went ahead and reprinted the large cavern tile that tore, and here's the finished result. As you can see, the thick cardboard creates a nice playing surface. The Homebrew tiles are slightly thicker than the original release, but that doesn't bother me all that much. Don't forget to grab your hobby mat and be sure you have a new blade in your knife so you can create those sharp edges. I grabbed a metal straight edge from the garage to complete this process with ease. I struggled trying to freehand the first few tiles before I realized my mistake. I had to go back over those areas. It's amazing how a sharp blade can make this process so much easier. Just look at those results. Bringing to life this miniature world. The cardboard I chose had a hollow inside and creates some collapsing around the edges, depending on where the tiles cut. If I were to do it again, I would definitely use foam board for the smaller pieces. I could easily see how one could recreate a really nice homebrew Warhammer quest, something I would love to have a copy of. And who knows, maybe I'll sit down and build one in the future. I think the biggest turnoff would be cutting all of those deck cards. Yikes. After considerable prep work and many hours spent Mod Podging into the night, I have a pretty decent Tear in the Dark expansion. The only missing pieces are the corridor tiles, which I simply couldn't cut and align accurately. I'll definitely keep an eye out for an incomplete box on eBay to complete those. As you can see in the side-by-side comparison, the coloring is remarkably close to the original print. The Mod Podge deepened the ink, giving it a richer tone, like you see here on the river tile. The Homebrew tiles are a perfect size and blended nicely when on the board. I feel it would be beneficial to take a file to finish off some of these edges where I had to cut a more organic shape. I now have all of the following completed pieces. 5 fully colored quest room tiles, found in the quest for the Lichmaster. A brand new set of hazard counters, 12 pit trap tiles, as well as 8 portcullises, including 4 bats, 4 rats, 4 molds, and 4 mushrooms, as well as the 4 magic weapon cards our heroes have to retrieve in the dungeon. I did manage to misplace 1 rat during the cutting process. It scurried away somehow, so I had to print another. But now he's returned and reunited with the rest of the crew. All in all, everything looks fantastic. The coffin is ready to be searched, and the rope bridge is begging to be crossed. The 2 treasure chests fit right in with the original, although I'll probably end up using the HeroQuest furniture for those, along with the statue. Everything has a unique color and feel for a tile-only expansion. The tiles are beautiful and blend seamlessly with the contents of the original box. I'm really happy with this result. In closing, I'm genuinely happy to have rediscovered this Vintage Games Workshop game. And the online community on Reddit is fantastic. It's great to know that others are still breathing life into this game 30 plus years later after its initial release. It's inspiring to see fellow enthusiasts painting miniatures and sharing their love for this hobby. A special shout out goes to Timely Elephant for the encouragement and help in getting me into the Advanced HeroQuest dungeon. And to anyone who hasn't quite made the jump yet over to Advanced HeroQuest. If you're on the fence about tracking down this classic game, or are hesitant about the hefty price tag, I can definitely see how you can use this technique to recreate the original game yourself. All the necessary materials are available online, and you can easily download and print a rulebook. You can even use your miniatures from the HeroQuest re-release. All you'd need to track down are some Skaven, and I even have a video on that topic. So be sure to check it out. Link in the description below. If you enjoy what you see, please like this video and subscribe for more HeroQuest content. Also, let me know in the comments if you'd consider homebrewing your own copy of Terror in the Dark, or if you have already. I'd love to hear your feedback and support. Until next time, your very survival depends on your ability to work together, for no true hero stands alone. Come, let the quest begin.